Okay, welcome back. We move on to our fourth party member now, Resme, the sorceress slash druid. I'm trying something a little bit different this time. I've got a slightly higher camera angle here because this paint handle, while it's convenient for moving something around, it really tends to get right up in the shot. So I'm hoping with a bit of a higher camera angle, I can actually have the model be in a place where I can still paint it, and we can still see what's going on camera, and then we can actually get a good enjoyable video going on. Okay, so let's talk Resme. So Resme is very much sort of a caught between two worlds kind of character here. She's got both her druid inclinations and training, but she's also inherited the magical talent of her unborn twin brother. So we're going to kind of see a lot of those clashes as we, both in the model, and it'll develop as we paint her. So kind of looking over here, first off, starting right away, we have the base. So the base here, we have this stone, cobble-type stone, with candles surrounding. So this implies sort of an indoor type of environment. But then going right over here, we've got the shoes and tied-off breeches of an outdoors woman, I suppose. Somebody who spends a lot of time outside. Legs are free. The clothing is simple and rugged, straps tied in close to her legs so it doesn't get caught on anything. And then moving right on up, we see that we've got this big flowing robe, and this belt piece here is actually kind of like a sash. I like to think of it as the robe Resme has wearing her sorceress robes, but she's tied them off at her waist so that she can still move through the undergrowth and move through the forest without it catching and tearing on plants and wildlife. Moving straight up, we have this fireball in her hands here, very sorceress type thing. And of course, those long flowing tresses, waist-length hair, in this very dynamic pose going on here. We're going to further that contrast by how we paint these different things. So the sorceress robes, we can actually go paint like an emerald green or a forest green to kind of show her druidic connection. The same for her undershirt here, while we can still keep this sorceress aesthetic with sort of a druidic tint to it. So that's the plan, at least. We'll go ahead and see how we can pull it off and see what it looks like at the end. I'm looking forward to this. We're going to get a chance to use a lot of really fun, vibrant colors. Now, Resme in particular took a bit of a beating when it came to the priming in the Florida weather. We can see some I don't want to call it scarring, but it's kind of what it is, just areas where the paint did not dry well, and we wound up with these sort of like puff balls of paint that tried to dry on the model. And I've done my best to brush or scrape most of it off, but it's left these scarring marks. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go touch up these areas to go ahead and try to get ourselves a clean base coat again. So if you live in an area, basically the moral of this is if you live in an area where you've got a lot of humidity, or you live in an area where the ambient temperature routinely runs outside the recommended temperature range that's on the outside of the spray can, you are running a risk when you attempt to spray paint models outdoors. And it may just be better to try to find another solution. I've actually, one of my recent, I shouldn't say that recent, but most recent acquisitions is actually an airbrush, which is pretty cool. You can actually do some really nice things with it, but probably what I've used it for more often than anything else is just to prime models when the weather just does not allow you to get away with actually spray painting outside. becomes very handy, and it's, in case any of you were wondering why the top of my paint handle is white, that would be the reason, because I've been spray priming models with this handle using my airbrush. Alright, and I'll just patch that up right there. I think the majority of that's looking pretty good. Okay, so that's enough to work with. We can go ahead and work with that. Alright, so starting off with that, let's go to get some colors out here. So we've got a... where did it get to? Here we go. So knowing my love of contrast paints, I'm gonna, if there's a contrast paint that's gonna get the job done, I'm gonna turn to it, because they look great and they really make the job easy and they make the job go a lot quicker. So this turquoise paint is, I think, what I'm gonna go ahead and use for her coat. So we get a nice, vibrant, brilliant green that will go and really tie together sort of a sorceress plus druidic look. For the hair, I'm going to go ahead and use this Flesh Terrors red here. It's not as vibrant as the Blood Angels red contrast that we have right over here. It's a bit darker, but that's fine. We can go ahead and start this off with that to get some nice shading and a good base on her hair, and we can go ahead and take it up with some layer paint if we really want to make it step out. An idea that I've got for her undershirt here, because if we actually look a bit closer, we can see that she has the coat on that gets wrapped around her waist with her sash, but she's wearing it open, and she has an undershirt on underneath that right here. And so for this undershirt, I think we can go with a paler green, which effectively is going to have the same effect, I think, of having the khaki underclothes that we see on people like Dalren or Roar, or Buford too, for that matter. So for that, I'm thinking we're probably going to go with a pale yellowish green, possibly this stuff here. I think could probably look just fine. Alternatively, we might want to go with the Thrall Flesh instead. It's got a bit more green in it, a bit lighter. Or if we really want to do a thing, we could go and no, probably best to go with this and then ink it if we want to make it darker. I think that'll wind up looking a bit better. Then we've got these underclothes here. So normally I'd hit these with khaki, but these aren't underclothes. These are actually her tight breeches that she's tied. She's actually tied around her legs. So there's a lot more detail here than we would think. So I'm thinking maybe I'll start with a brown, build up some details with some layering, maybe finish it with some khaki to go and really kind of show off the sort of big contrast between the top and the bottom. Shoes, I'm just going to go with black shoes, I think, because she could be brown trekking boots is all well and good, but again, like I said, I want to try to make these character models distinctive. And she could just be wearing some really good quality shoes that she goes and are perfectly stand up to walking around outside. So she is a druid, but she also is very much involved with civilization. She's an emissary. Her family is very well to do, and she lives in Breach Hill. She doesn't live out in some group in the middle of the woods somewhere. So we'll see how this all comes together. So let's go ahead and start with that hair first. Yeah, I'm thinking we'll probably start with the hair first. So let's see how that comes out. So Flesh Terrors here. Okay. So pick up some of that. Let's see how this works. I think this resume here has definitely got some of the most detailed hair of anyone in the party. So we really got to go and do right by it, especially seeing how big it is and how much of the model is taken up by it. Now, Resume actually has a bit more going on her head than we would initially think. So there's a corner here that you might think is an elf ear, but it's not. It's actually the continuation of that collar pushing back through her hair. So we'll need to come back over and paint that the same color that we're going to paint the collar. In addition to that, yeah, her hair is so voluminous that you really can't see her ears at all. It's just entirely covered up underneath the wave upon wave of hair. Where are you? Get right in there. Get right in there. So it's going to be a fun challenge trying to paint this robe and not get anything on the hair. Now the hair kind of meets the sleeve here, so that's both good and slightly inconvenient. So we'll just have to be a little careful, and we'll just go ahead and patch where we need to, because that's just a part of painting. Okay, here we go. So here we go. Wow, this red is really, really rich. I might have to, no, I could probably actually do two things at once, where when I highlight it, I also tone down that luster a bit to get it a bit more real. Of course, then again, a druid who absorbed sorceress powers from her unborn twin brother is certainly a good candidate for an unlikely hairstyle. So we will see how this comes out, especially with the rest of the colors. I really suspect that it's going to really come together. And she's also got a sort of a tiara thing going on here, so we'll go ahead and pick that out later. Very nice, very nice. Kind of reminds me of Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Very, very lustrous red. All right. Poof. The paint pot is closed. All right. So, moving on, let's go ahead. Skin, I think. So, let's see. We've got a red head. We'd probably go with a pale complexion. This kind of makes sense. So we'll do that. Alright, so get right in there. Okay. Where does that neckline stop? I think it stops right above. I think actually what I thought was originally a necklace, I think that's actually the neck of her undershirt. So it looks like it's right there. Perfect. Okay, gotta go get right in there. I'm gonna get that collar, but you know what? It's just how it's gonna work. Sacrifices and all that. Okay. Now we've got our hand. There we go. And other hand right here. So she's got a ring on her hand too. Thankfully, the ring is turned upward, so I probably won't forget it nearly as easily as I forgot Rur's. Just go right under here. Get the palm. And another nod to... Well, you know what, now that I think about it, maybe bare hands isn't a big deal for druids. I imagine they probably like to feel the nature around them without gloves to get in the way. Assuming they aren't trying to pull out briars or anything. Although I suppose a druid wouldn't have to pull out briars, they could just ask them nicely to move. Seems like a very druidic thing to do. Well, fantasy roleplay druid thing to do, at least. Okay. So we've got that going, that's drying. Okay, now we've got that coat. So I think let's go ahead and do this shirt first. This trim, I probably do that in like a gold. Same thing I'm going to do for the trim on the coat. So we'll start with this on that shirt. Okay. There we go. So I'm dealing with a really vibrant red. So I'm going to have to make absolutely sure that my greens do not look in any way, shape, or form like Christmas tree green. Because then Resme becomes a Christmas elf and there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm keeping this color on her shirt very pale. I'm keeping, and this color that I'm going to put on her robes here are going to be have a bit more of a turquoise feel to them, an emerald kind of green as opposed to your like forest green that you get with the Christmas type thing. Now, that being said, it's all well and good to have a plan. We'll see what it actually looks like when I get it on the model. Alright. Well, here we go. Ah, there we go. Really pretty jewel tone there. And I'm kind of okay if I go over the lines there because we can always repaint that trim. Goodness gracious, there's a lot of detail on this robe that just popped right out. Once I hit it with that contrast, I might actually go over this again. So I've got that sash in the middle there, and I might use a different color for that to kind of just break up the green. That's It's close to a Christmas green. It's closer than I would feel comfortable with it being, but I think it's probably okay, especially if I touch it up a bit here and there. There we go. Under there. Trying not to stick the handle in the camera quite so much, but sometimes it's just a little tricky. Let's see now. Okay. So okay, now I have to decide, is that part of the sash tie-off or is that part of the robe tie-off? I'm going to say it's part of the robe, because then you can kind of see that coloring a bit more from this angle, and I like that, so that is what I'm going to do. Now the sash becomes a bit thinner there. That's fine, that's good. Stays much more as an accent than it would otherwise. Alright, just cut that up there. Oh dear. Well, that's fine, we'll just fix that. Getting a little wild with that brush. Not a big deal. I wouldn't go so far as to say that was a happy little accident, because I am going to need to go fix it. But it wasn't bad. Okay. Now, well, I have got a trim color in mind for this. As far as the interior of the sleeve, that's going to be the same color. So, let's go. Not forget to paint that. Oh man, this angle is awkward. Let's see. There we go. Perfect. Same deal over here. Oh, it's a little bit too much. Let's just wipe that off. Alrighty. There we go. Cool. And I'll just go overboard a little bit here. Just okay. 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 Man, this interior sleeve is just sort of like pouring out of the cuff. Pretty intense. Alright, here we go. Good. Get a little bit in here. And I think we're pretty good. Alright, we'll see how that looks when it dries out. So I'm not going to make the same mistake with this that I did with Roar. I'm going to actually hit that base while I'm thinking about it. Because in order to do these cobblestones, it's going to take a few layers of stuff. So, water that down just a little bit. Let's go ahead and get this coverage down so we can start. Man, I thought leaves were hard to paint around. Candles are really getting in the way here. That's fine. You can get around him. There we go. Alright, where does that shoe end? Right about there. Just kind of on her toe there. Okay. There we go. Get off there, you little thing. There we go. Get it off. Alright, cool. So that'll be able to dry. While that's going, I can go ahead and grab the leggings. Easy there. Part of the danger of setting this camera up a little bit higher is that it becomes a little bit less steady. Maybe Squid can edit that out. Okay. Alright, leggings time. Oh, it's so nice to open a pot of Mornfang Brown and have it actually be liquid all the way through. Alright, all the same though, still going to want to water it down a little bit. Not much is needed, just enough to make it flow nicely. Alrighty. Good old boring base coating. Do. Easy there. Don't want to bump that camera around too much. And if I go onto the shoe, it's not that big a deal because since I'm painting the shoe black, it's going to cover any stray paint up really easily. Okay, got this, that, right in here, and right in there. Oop, caught a little bit of still wet turquoise on my brush there. It's alright, just clean it off, get some more. Never put a contaminated brush back in the pot, or you will no longer have the color you once did. Okay, how are those shoe lines looking? Good. Good. Alright. Perfect. Well, I mean, hardly perfect and hardly done, but it is a base coat. Now, she also has a little belt pouch here that she's got hanging off her sash, so you can go ahead and hit that. A nice common leather belt pouch. Hardly a sow's ear. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Every new edition of D20 type systems, the characters get further away from being a gritty scrappy bunch of treasure hunting, glorified thieves slash grave robbers, and they start becoming more like epic fantasy, super stylized. Not that I mind it, actually. I kind of like this flashy style is definitely something that's a lot of fun to paint, but there's something about, like, you know, I'm like, my job was to load a bunch of cow dung in a wheelbarrow and push it around, and then I decided to go adventuring. It's like some of the old, like, Warhammer Fantasy roleplay stuff where you just had, like, the wackiest random scut from the Middle Ages who for some reason goes adventuring and has a horrendous mortality rate. There's definitely a bit of charm to that, too. I'm not sure if I'd enjoy necessarily playing in that game, but it's fun to think about. Alright, got that good, got that good. Let me touch that shirt up. A little bit more of this. Patch, patch, patch. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Alrighty. So, let's see what we want to do here. I could go for that sash. I need something contrasting, something pretty vibrant, probably blue. Probably the same blue I used on Dalrin's notebook. This Talisar, another like really vibrant jewel tone. Probably like that. Let me see about that fire in her hand too while I'm thinking about the different colors. As I recall, well, I thought I had an image around here of what Bryn put together, and I don't see what I did with it. Well, as I recall, it was blue, so we're going with a bluish tint to the flame. So we would go and start with, again, following the rules of, you know, this is fire, this is not an object. We wouldn't shade this like a blue object. We would color it where the hottest part becomes a brighter, hotter color, and then it would go to a cooler part. So since we're going to go with a blue flame, blue is really, really hot. You don't get too much hotter than blue. And then, so coming down cooler from blue, we're going to go into white. So it's going to be probably blue towards the base, white further up. Probably just do a 3-stage, something like this. I hesitate to use this white because this white is just absolutely piercing. But we'll see how it goes. We'll start with this. Base it up. I don't know if it would go to a lighter blue before it went to white. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and go for it, and we'll see how it looks. I will let Rule of Cool decide how physics works in this particular regard. I'm sure there may be some of you who would love to correct me, and you certainly may do so. Probably won't repaint the model, though. So I'm just going to hit this whole thing, because I'd much rather just paint that up. And in a way, what I'm doing here is I'm effectively painting shades on it anyway, because in this case the the deeper blue color would theoretically be hotter. Again, I might be wrong, but it sort of works to the advantage of how you typically paint and what your eyes expect to see anyway. So I think it'll work out well. Just get right around that. There we go. There we go. Okay, good start, good start. Just get right in there. I think the rest of this is pretty good. Alright, so moving on. You're going to want to ink this flesh tone here. Normally I'd go for a flesh wash, and that'll give us a similar, like, warm color that we see here on Ruhr. But gotta remember, I want to make these people be distinct, so I'll try not to copy. I'll try not to copy things as I go through it. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to actually ink with Devlin mud. And if I'm, it makes kind of sense. She spends a lot of time outdoors. She might get a little bit weathered. And again, we're kind of going for a combination here. So let's see if I can, with a judicious application of this, see if we can go ahead. Oof, that looks pretty dingy. I'm really dinging her up. I'm not sure if I like it. Well, let's paint it and see how it comes out. Definitely brings out the detail, but let me see if I can lighten that up a bit. So what I'm doing here is I'm just taking a clean brush, mopping up some of the excess ink, and then wiping it off on a paper towel to go back and get some more. And that's a little better. Doesn't look quite so mud splotched. Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to let that dry before I decide if I want to do something else with it. What I might do is, instead of the heavier flesh wash, I might recover this and then go with this stuff here, this flesh shade that I got expecting to have, when I had expected to have lost this. And I think it's actually a little bit lighter in how it covers, so that might actually give me the shade that I'm looking for, and to kind of keep that warm skin tone without getting it dirty like Devlin Mud's starting to do. I'm not exactly sure why it occurred to me that Devlin Mud would make, why it'd be a surprise Devlin Mud would make something look dirty, but there we go. That's that's what it did. Apologies to Resume, I'll go back and fix that. So let me go then to this stuff. Put you back in frame. So let's go ahead and get that sash. So I'll take this here, and let's just, oh man, this blue is just so crazily vibrant. Alright, there we go. Okay. There we go. I manage to... Oh, there's just a little bit in there that I need to patch up. Let's see if I can get it. Oh my goodness. How badly am I messing that up there? Am I hitting that sleeve? You know, it's kind of like a tree in the forest. If your brush hits the sleeve, but you can't tell, did it ever really hit the sleeve? I'm definitely going to go on the... No, I never hit that sleeve. You're fine, Nick. You're fine. Oh, it did bleed into the creases on the undershirt, though. Man, that undershirt is just really prone to sopping that up, isn't it? Get. Yeah, the hell with it. I'll just patch it up once it dries. Oh, no. Oh, well. All right. So, ugh, goodness gracious, poor Resme. That face is just mud splotched, despite my best efforts. All right, let's go cover that back up and repatch it. A little bit of this goes right there. All right. Goes there. There. Right there. There. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Okay, we'll try that other one. You know, it actually occurs to me, before I go and risk another wash on the face to see how it looks, I actually have a nice hand sticking out right over here that I can go ahead and try it on. So let's see how you look. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted all along. Beautiful. That's it. Okay. So, right in there, right in there. I'll hit this hand while I'm at it, since I'm so happy with how that came out. Beautiful. Ah, perfect. All right, much, much better. Now, we've got that ring. Before I forget about it, let's go ahead and get it taken care of. Now, I could go and just metallic it up, but it makes sense for something that big to probably be a gem of some sort. I mean, that thing is honkin' massive. Like, if you think about like how much of her hand it's taking up, it'd basically be the equivalent of a stone doing one of these things. So it's got to be something that's pretty darn impressive looking. So I'm going to show you a little trick that you can do with contrast paints. So I'm going to get this stuff, and we're going to use this to color that gem. So you've seen the kind of the vibrancy you can get out of it, but you've only seen it with a white undercoat. You can actually undercoat these things, all sorts of things, to get some interesting effects out of them. So we're going to take mithril silver, which is a really bright silver that you may have seen me use to highlight Buford's armor. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that. Okay. Perfect. And what you can do when you put a contrast over metallic, the contrast allows the undercoat to show through, and it effectively tints the undercoat. So what you get is you get this really pretty jewel tone that you get out of the contrast paint, but you get it overlaying a metallic. So you get a shiny type of jewel tone effect that really looks pretty. And we can use that to make gems really easily without having to do this like 3 to 4 layer gem effect on these things. I've got a model where it was like it's a greater demon of Slanesh, which is a Warhammer monster effectively, but the whole idea is that it's hyper luxurious basically. So it's got like gold chains and gems hanging off of it left and right. And that technique is essentially the only reason why I finished painting that thing at all. Because otherwise it would have been absolute madness. I never would have made it through. Alright, face looks dry. Let's go ahead and ink it back up. Get back here, you. Throwing my brush around. And I know I was pretty satisfied with it, but let's not get too sloppy with how much shade I'm putting on there at once. There we go. There we go. Ah, so much better. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get back here, you. Popped out of the handle here. Okay. And now I am going to use Devlin Mud, but I am certainly not going to use it on our heroine's face. I have learned my lesson there. No, no, no. Instead, I will use it upon the ground upon which she walks. And I couldn't tell you why, but for some reason, when you're painting stone, if you don't put some kind of brown element into it, it just doesn't seem to work as well. You get like this sterile looking concrete feel instead of like actual stone. I couldn't tell you why. And this is not a technique I discovered on my own. I discovered it by, like we learn most things, by stealing it from someone who figured it out before us. And it creates a lot more depth. There we go. Okay. So, that's coming along pretty nicely. I think that robe is mostly dry. I think that belt is mostly dry. Oh, wait, I see a place I missed a spot. I guess I should probably go touch it up. Okay, let's just get real careful in here. There we go. And okay, there we go. Put you away. Alright, so that's still wet. That looks pretty dry. That looks pretty dry. Let's go ahead and build that up. So this icy blue thing. Huh, it's weird, I could have sworn I had a spot for this on here. Oh, doesn't matter. Alright. So, get some icy blue on here. Thin it down. I'm going to try something. Actually, I'm going to thin this down a lot, so that when I paint this on, it's pretty easy to draw this out. And that way, if I keep enough transparency on it, it doesn't destroy me if I go too far down. There we go. Okay. Nice, getting some depth there. Okay, good. Okay, good stuff. So this looks pretty good. So I've also got these things. So let's go ahead and start working on the trim to this stuff. Is that dry? Yeah, that's dry. Let's go patch that undershirt again. I swear I'm getting more staining on that under... Oh, did I finally... I shouldn't say finally. I literally just opened this. Alright, well. I have found yet another weakness, is that it is somewhat easy to break the hinge on these tops. It's okay though, they actually hold a really good seal, so I can forgive some weakness. There we go. Come on. There we go. Make sure that's sealed on all the way so it doesn't turn into my poor bone color from painting rurs I discovered. Okay, cool. So let's go and get that. So I'm going to go with a gold color on the thing. And I'm also noticing actually that we have some pattern here on the shoulders as well. I'm going to gold that up too to kind of further break up that green. And so I'll do it in 2 layers. So I'm going to start with this bronze here. And this will basically be the base coat. And then the highlight will go on gold, and it'll add some nice depth to it. Now, if I was working on a more textured area, I would actually go bronze, and then I'd hit it with a wash, either a flesh wash or a... Yeah, I could use a Devlin, but probably a flesh wash would be what I would do. And wet that down just a little bit here. And that would give it some really nice depth to it. And so that would come out where, say... Oh, no, he doesn't really have anything on him over there. Thought I had a model handy that demonstrated it well, but I don't, so I'm not going to go drag it out. And we'll hit this right here. Got a bit more room for error there than I... So that's... Alright, and just straight up there. I try to be as cautious as I can and minimize spillover, because while Resme's undershirt is easy to patch up, that jewel tone from the contrast will require us to go over it with the base color again, and I'd rather not do that too often if I can avoid it. Okay, so we've got the collar right there, right where she's got her cheek buried right into it. And let's not forget that the collar actually extends back here. That is not, in fact, her ear. That is, and you can see it better from this angle, a continuation of the collar. Okay. Effectively what I'm doing here is glorified base coating, so just need to be pretty meticulous, make sure I get all little pieces, and we can do cooler stuff like highlighting later. Okay, so that looks actually like a piece of hair I missed right there. So this is right here. There we go. Okay. Got the collar, got that. Let's go do the sleeve. A little thread seems to have, hair has popped away from my brush for some reason. It seems to really be, oh boy. Alright, Squid, edit that out. Goodness gracious me.
Oh my god.
Okay. Right. Back we go. And we are getting more on that trim. Okay, well that's interesting. So this here looks like it's only partially, like this actually looks like the border of the sleeve, which means we've got a little bit of sleeve showing right there. So I'll need to go back and hit that part, and that'll be good. You'll be able to see the sleeve there between her hair. And the interior here. You get a better point on that before I can go ahead and there we go. Okay, so just remember to green that over. We're here on the sleeve. We've got this. Okay. There we go. Get the interior going. Here we go. Here. missed a little bit here. It's fine. And mirroring the effect on the other sleeve. I'll just go ahead and just keep it to the ring here, because the interior sleeve will actually spill out past the liner. So this is probably quite a luxurious coat here, because we're looking at a coat that has a very, not really frilly, but definitely a liner on it too. Alright, so let's see about those shoulders here. So it's kind of hard to make out that pattern, but it looks pretty good. I'm wondering if I shouldn't do gold and instead go with a lighter green. I like that idea a bit better. It'll actually let me pick out the folds in the robe too, and it'll let me keep the gold to where I want it to draw people's attention. So we'll just do it that way. Okay, so we'll do that. Okay. Alright. Oh, missed one. Do I just go straight gold on that? Yeah, I probably just want to go straight gold on that. Yeah, it won't cover well. I'll need to do bronze. Still got some bronze here. Let's use it to go ahead and hit this tiara that she's got. After all, she is highborn, even if she is only half-elf, so she's rather well off. So, she's got this tiara crown thing going on here. So let's glitz it out. There we go. Looks like I gotta touch up the hair a bit there. That's fine. I have to touch it up here too. And alright, great stuff. Alright. So let's touch up that hair. There we go. A little bit to clean up right here. A little bit to clean up right here. What else have I got? Since the hair was the first thing I put down, I had the least idea about where the borders of it lay. So it's not surprising that I missed a few edges here and there. But all in all, I think it looks pretty good. Put that down. Let's go ahead and get that ring while I'm thinking about it. This is Blood Angel's red. It's a bit more vibrant than the red we used for her hair, a bit lighter. And we'll go right over this ring. And voila. Bam. Resme got some bling on. Okay. Takes care of that. Let's go ahead and hit the rest where that sleeve peeked through that I missed earlier. Not quite too crazy, so... Okay, there we go. Okay. Careful when you're closing it. There we go. All right. So, got her shoes here. Let's just go ahead and start with a straight black. There we go, right here. Alright, and let's get these shoes. It occurs to me I could have actually gone and hidden this with the Black Templar contrast paint, but I would have had to have touched up where the brown had gone over onto the shoe surface, which would have been an extra step. And contrast paints exist to save you steps, not to cost you steps. However, it also occurs to me that the Black Templar contrast paint covers so well that I probably wouldn't have even noticed. It probably would have just slurped that brown right up and not even shown a care in the world while it did it. That's okay, because this stuff here seems to be doing the job just fine. It's thin enough. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and I want to ink the leggings and that pouch probably. So I'll go ahead and pull out Flesh Wash for that. It's my go-to that I like using anyway, and so it'll pick out these details just nicely. There we go. Get the belt pouch. There we are. Okay. So, I could try to get those eyes. Let's try and get those eyes. Water it down because I have really got to get to a good tip here. Alright, so we've got next one. Now, Resme is a half-elf, so I don't know that she would necessarily have those black orbs that you typically get with an elf in Pathfinder. So I think we'll actually be able to give her whites and an actual pupil. Then again, she is much more elven than human. Maybe she would have actually kept her parents' eyes, now that I think about it. Well, we'll see. I'll think about it, and maybe I'll go ask Jen and see what she thinks. And then let's go ahead and get gold down. So, got our gold here. That was... Okay. So, this stuff's going to be a bit easier to go work with because we only have to hit the high areas. We let the bronze kind of act as a shade to kind of just backlight the gold a bit. There we go. And then we're going to come down to her sash here, which she's effectively secured with a brooch and pin. Go ahead and gold those too. And I gotta try to be careful, because I don't want to catch that knot of fabric. There we go. Perfect. Alright, let's go do sleeves. There we go. Like that. Okay. Nice. Let's go ahead and hit this other one here. Okay. There we go. Okay. And last but not least, we'll hit that tiara. There we go. The more practice I get at painting, the more I realize that really you don't necessarily have the end in mind, but you do get a plan on how to handle each individual piece. So you just follow your plan for each piece, and by the end of it, you wind up with something that actually looks quite respectable. And is something you probably wouldn't be able to conceive of just by yourself, just looking at it. Alright, so let's see here. Yeah, that gold really helped pull this together. The leggings and the shoes still look pretty unimpressive, but I'm going to let that shade we put on it dry a bit more, and then we can start picking that out too. Meantime, looks like it's time to hit that fireball again, so let's go ahead. Moment of truth here. Let's bring the white out. I think I still have a little bit left over from those eyes, but I'll add just a bit more just in case. Okay. A little bit of water. Because again, I'm going to go for partial coverage here. So that I'm almost kind of building it up in layers here, so... That way, as I take it down, just the outsides, it's transparent enough that I'm not splotching it on there. Because this white can really overpower stuff if you're not careful. There we go. Just kind of some licking flames right here. Okay. That's pretty good. Nice. Rather happy with that. Okay. Alright. So I've got to clean up a little bit of line stuff around the edges here. Some cases I might be able to leave that, but not in that location where it is. It's right there on her chest. Anyone who's looking at that model head on is not going to be able to help but notice that. So let's go clean it up a little bit. Again, we're talking contrasts here, so we're going to have to clean it up with the base coat and then go back over it. Okay, good, and good. Okay. All right, so let's go highlight now. So we'll start up here with her hair, I think. So her hair's looking pretty good, but again, we're going to want to take this highlight up a bit more because we're looking at something that's going to be pretty far away. So we'll want to really kind of take these highlights up to the next level. So I'm going to grab some Heart Fire. And I'm just going to kind of go ahead and catch the tops of her hair. Maybe where a bit of sunlight has caught it. A little bit of water. This is already pretty thin paint, but just a little bit of water too, because I want to be very certain I'm not overdoing this. Ooh, she's got a lot of hair here. Let's see. Just a little bit. Right there. And we will go. And I'm going to stick to the raised areas here. So when you see these, I'm not, instead of painting down each lock, I'm actually only going to really hit it where the hair is actually raised up and is in a place where it would catch light. There we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. Not too bad. So now, that'll pop out a bit at a distance. Alright, let's move on to her coat. And I think this might be too dark, but I don't think so. I think this will actually do exactly what I need it to. Let's see what we're working with here. What we're working with is a paint that needs to be reconstituted. So let's go ahead and do that. Not too bad. That's not too bad at all. I'd say a little whisk would actually be perfect for this, but you'd wind up losing so much paint that was stuck to the whisk, it probably wouldn't be worth it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, got another glop in there somewhere. Okay. All right. Now that we got that done, boop, a little bit of water on it. Okay. So we'll start off with this shoulder pattern right here. Still got a little bit too much paint on that brush. Let's get some of that off there, get a better point. I'm going to be doing detail work here, so point is everything. Yeah, that contrasts actually really nicely. Beautiful. There we go. Okay, and now can't quite see it as well on her right arm, but some of that pattern is peeking out from underneath her hair, so we'll go ahead and hit it. Like that. And then then what we can do is we can just go ahead and pick out the highlights on this robe with this green. Get some more paints here. Some of this going here, some of that, some of that. And there we go. Just get to see the folds. And there's a fair number of them here because, let's not forget, she is effectively bunching her robes up to be able to keep them off her legs. So there's going to be a fair amount of this here that she can go and that we can go ahead and paint those folds on. Plus these sleeves are great for it. Just like, look at all this. Like that. There we are. Right here, right here. Almost like a cross-hatching pattern. Over here in the back, definitely. We're going to put some right there, and it's going to spread off left and right. We got some where she's outstretching her arm, and the contrast has done a great job of showing us exactly where we need to put these highlights. Very nice. Okay. We have a little bit of stretching here. Let's go ahead and mark that. Mark that right there. This is going to kind of be where that sash is pulling that robe close to her hips. And I've got a little thing in the back here to show the twist in her body. Alright, and the rest of it will just be... That was probably a little overdone. I'll just get the sleeves here. I'm feeling a little timid now because I overdid it on the other one. That's alright, we'll get it. There we go. Alright. And now Resume has this. What am I going to highlight her with? She's got way too much. So the problem with her face is that there's too many smooth areas. We don't have the same nice, solid cheekbones, the nose that we had with Rur. We've got all of this smooth cheekbones, smooth neck thing going on, which makes picking out these details with the ink, it doesn't really work as well as it did with him. So we're going to need to highlight some of that, and I have to figure out what I want to highlight it with. Now, I don't have a color I think that will work, so we're going to get a little mad science-y. We're going to take some of our elf flesh here. That's not elf flesh, that's dwarf flesh. What did I do with the elf flesh? Here it is. Take this elf flesh here, as I was saying. Grab some of that, put it right there. And then I will drop the camera. And I'm going to ask Squid oh so kindly to edit that out. And I'm going to get some of this. And we'll put that right here. And let's just go ahead and mix this and see what we get. Wow, it can really take a lot of white, can't it? But if we just keep going, we should get something nice and pastel that we can use. Yeah, that's looking pretty good right there. Yeah. That looks to be about... Yeah, just throw the rest of it in there. Let's see what we get. Yeah, no, that's basically exactly what we want. So, grab some of you, grab some of you. Not quite that much. Alright, so Resume's got a cheekbone right there. She's got a nose. A little bit on her jawline. Her lips are gonna be right about here. And a little bit of shine on her collarbone. And can I get that other cheekbone? Let me see. Yes, I can. There we go. So, as with the rest of our heroes, they're basically wearing stage makeup. So that is going to look pretty garish up close right here. But if we pull this away, and I get the camera to focus in, we can actually see what we want, where you can actually see, yep, nope, she's got a nose, she's got a cheekbone, she's got her, you can see where her mouth is, you can see her collarbones, like that's what we want. Perfect. All right, good stuff. And that's a brief explanation on why, if you're getting yourself a paint set, always make sure you have white and always make sure you have black, because you can get all sorts of really great shades with any other color if you mix white and black in with it. Okay, so this stuff is all dry down here on the bottom. Do I want to pick out, since I'm picking out highlights on the coat, I should probably pick out some highlights on the sash as well. So let's go do that. Grab a little bit of this ice blue. Of course, a little bit right there, since that is the part that is quite raised up, being in the knot in the middle. Pick out that, pick out that. A little bit up top. Got this nice fold running right there, one right below it, one right above it. Flip around to the back here, we've got a nice big fold running right down here. And we've got another one on the bottom. And we got another one right on top. One just under that. One just under that. Beautiful. All right. I don't think I'm going to go near this anymore, so I think I'm good to patch that. I'm patching this with this contrast, but I've done an awful lot of highlighting around it, so I need to be a little cautious on how I apply this. Take a little bit here, try to get the excess off. try to get the excess off again and just get myself down to a point here. And then my goal is going to be just to use this like a marker. Not trying to flow into any lines. Just trying to color in what I got here. There we go. Same deal right down the middle. Just using it like a marker. Perfect. All right. Now, let's turn our attention to the brown areas. So we'll go to our good old friend Scrag here. And pull some of this out. Water it down a little bit. Get ourselves a nice good layer consistency. And we'll just start at the top here. So we've got this pouch just kind of drawn in here. We've got an area here in the middle. And then of course you've got this area on the outside. There and there. And it just goes right over the top. And here we've got a little highlight we're going to put on her knee. Got this strap here, but I think I am going to paint it this color, but I'm also going to take it up with khaki too. In fact, I might even vary the different textures that we're running with here, because this is very much looks like a home job that she went and did to go ahead and keep her leggings out of the way here. So she's got some bunching here around her ankles, which makes for good highlights. So let's go ahead and hit those. And get it between the candles. She's got, again, kind of a highlight here on the knee, where this material sort of bunches up a bit. And then we've got this section here and here. And one right up the middle here. And I've got another one. Can I get to it? I don't know. Let me see here. I can see it, but I don't know. Let's see. There we go. Good enough. Alright, I'm just finished getting this right there, right there. Alright, good stuff, good stuff. Okay. Let that dry. Moving on to those shoes. We'll go ahead and put a highlight there. I'm going to use Administratum. This is a really good gray. That is a little bit darker than the Ulthen that we use for the base coat, but it'll make a good highlight. So just go ahead and hit the straps of her shoes, go around the outside, hit the heel, and around this way, strap of her shoes, toe. And I think we're probably good right there. Okay. Okay. Alright. Good stuff. So I'm going to go ask Jen her opinion on those eyes, as well as her opinion on some other things too. And we'll see how it comes out, and I will be back, because I still got to work on that base, and I might have to patch some things, so be right back. Okay, here we go, finishing up resume here. So, looks like the she has been well received, and we're going to go ahead and keep her white human eyes with a dark blue iris. So I have this night sky indigo here, and so we're going to go with that. So a little bit of that, a little bit of water, and get this brush tip as sharp as I possibly can. All right, here we go. There we go. And oh, that fireball's in the way. There we go. We got her regarding her fireball. It's off center, but the eyeballs still focus on it, so ha! I'll take it. Not too bad. We got that to work. Alright. So, next up, let's go get that khaki highlight down there. And let's see. As I recall from last time, I think all of my khaki paints were irretrievably stuck. So I'll have to use something else. What have I got? What have I got? What have I got? Are you irretrievable? No, you were just going to require an awful lot of work. However, if I have no other choice, I suppose we'll have to do so. Alright, we'll go over here and get my handy dandy mixing stick. Oh boy. Let me see if I can actually get this top off. Ah, got it. Whew. Alright, so as you can see, my work is quite cut out for me there. So let's see. We'll start with that. Let's try to break this up a little bit here. There we go, there we go. Whew. There we go. There we go. All right. Step one is we broke that layer up. it's still really, really chunky. This will work for this time right now because this is all I got to work with, but I think in the future I just might want to go buy myself another pot of khaki paint. Let's go ahead and just try to work with around the chunks right now. I don't need a lot of this stuff, and I don't exactly have half an hour to try to go and recover all of this stuff. Alright. So that looks kind of promising. It's certainly watered down enough, so let's see how this behaves. Got a bit too much on there. Let's ease it up. Get that off of there. Alright, there we go. Yeah, it's really thin, probably on account of the fact that most of the pigment in that pot is still taken up by chunks. It's not exactly very elegant what I'm working with here, but I think it's good enough for these purposes here. And I'm just going to leave that. A little highlight around the ankles. A little highlight around the ankles. So I like to imagine that she's just taken some cord and just tied down the more stubborn parts. So around the thighs where it tends to bunch out, around her knees to keep the joint articulated, around her ankles to keep it from catching under her feet. And I think I've basically got her done there. So I'm gonna cap this up and probably pitch it because I just need to go get some more. Probably a fresh pot there. Alright, so now to the base. We've got go grab the let's grab the administratum. At the risk of it sharing a tone with the shoe highlight, I think this is still going to be get the best effect on these stones here. So we can just kind of highlight the edge of the stones. I'm doing it a little differently this time. I'm just actually picking out the stone outline, and I'm doing this to make it distinctive from Rohr's base. I mean, the candles will certainly help with that, but what I did on his is I wanted to just kind of put a solid highlight on each stone. But this one, I think I'm going to try to pick out the edges of each of the tiles. Well, they're not really tiles, but cobblestones, I suppose. And I'm hoping it'll create a distinctive enough look that no one thinks Ruhr and Resme are from the same street. Here we go. little pieces right there. Right there, and there, and there. All right. We'll see how that looks. I might want to go break that outline up a bit more, but we'll see. Let's go get those candles. So candle-wise, probably want to put them back to white. Yeah, probably white to start with. I don't know if I want to use this white, though. This white is really brilliant. Let's see what it looks like. I can always darken it down later if I need to. And I'm just going to use the filbert brush here. Make this go a little bit easier on me. There we go. Whew. Man, this white can get just so brilliant. And right back here. Right over here. And over here. Alright, so little tiny candle really close to the shoes. Let's see here. And then there's that one part right in there that this brush is ill-suited to try to grab. So let's go switch to our detail. Pick up some paint. And let's go get it. Oh, missing a little spot here too. Alright, in we go. Just scoop that out there. Scoop that out right there. Okay, cool. We can see our candles again. And now we've got that fire. So let's hit that fire. Yeah. Nope, 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 nope. The more I look at that, the more I just do not like it. We need to go ahead and hit the interiors there. And actually, I think I want to hit them a little stronger. So let's go ahead, break out our dry brush here. And we'll go ahead and just dry brush out our paving stones with that administratum. And see how it looks after that. Just kind of blend this mass of stonework together here. And not just kind of go for the outline. I've got too much outline on the shoes already. I need to make sure that we can actually tell her feet apart. The other thing I could do actually, and I think I will do it, is I'm going to go and gloss those shoes to make them stand out a bit more. A little bit of patent leather never hurt anybody. Yeah, that's significantly better already. Yeah, there we go. All right. Good stuff there. Now, She is surrounded by lit candles, but those are not going to be normal lit candles. They should probably mirror the fire that she's holding. So let's take a little bit of blue. And we'll just go candle flame, candle flame. I am almost assuredly going to forget some of these flames exist. So, just have to be a little bit more diligent, especially when it comes down to getting them right in here. There we go. Let's see if I can get that angle. Oof, that's hard. It's a hard angle to get. Oh boy. Don't do that now. Here we go. I get it this way. There we go. Alright, meanwhile, we'll pop over to here. Another candle flame. That one's off by itself, so that's nice and easy to get. We got this one here. Once again, off by itself. Nice and easy to get. Clean that one up. Clean that one up. Oh, a little bit of cleaning up needed here and here. And I think I saw, yep. There, I got a dab of blue that I'm about to clean up. But that's okay, because I've still got some white here. So a little dab. There we go. Whisk that away, and that away, that away. Alright. Way too much splatter right there, isn't it? There we go. Okay. Next step up. Blue. Lighter blue. Again, just kind of getting about the halfway mark here. And those white candles are just begging for some kind of texture to go on them, so probably what I'll do is I'm going to maybe ink them something to go ahead and get the recesses looking good. Maybe a beige or something. Some kind of nice neutral candle color. That escapes me at the moment. I guess I could always do khaki. Hard to go wrong with khaki. That would kind of give it a tallowy kind of look. Which they did make a lot of candles out of back in the day, so not entirely inaccurate. So I'm already splattering paint around anyway, so I need to patch it up eventually. And since I'm basing this a really brilliant white, it would actually be easier to... Oh man. There we go, got my point back. Would actually be easier to use that khaki because it's going to be even lighter than we're typically used to, so it won't even look like I've painted them clothing. So I think that'll actually probably work. So I'll just pick out the tips here. White, 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 white. away just yet. I've got some more stuff to clean up. Like right there. Oh boy, I got a water droplet sitting right there on the end of my brush. Let's get you off of there before you splash onto something that I don't want you to. Okay, not too bad. Alright, now then, this is going to be awesome if this works. My good friend, Skeleton Horde, used on this mini-series to paint absolutely everything except for bone or skeleton, as was originally intended. So let's try you here first. That's not bad. Let me see if I can't thin it out a bit. Yeah, there we go. So let's go put a dollop right here. A little bit of water. Bleed that over a bit. Use this in the next batch of candles. Yeah, there we go. A little bit of texture, not so much staining. Good, 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 good. That's what I want. Okay. Goes right there, goes right there. Beautiful. Alright, I think she's just about done right there. The only thing left I've got to do, take her off the handle and do the edge of the bases. That little hair is starting to pop out of my brush, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of this stuff in it. Just a little bit. In addition to being soap, it's also a really good conditioner. So you can just put it on the end of your brush there and leave it. And it'll keep that point nice and dead arrow straight. Alright. So let's get the last edges of that base there. So I'll just take you off. And where did that Eshin go? Here it is. Oh boy, this is getting pretty thick. Might want to need to dilute this pretty soon. But in the meantime, it will serve its purpose. All right. And I do believe, aside from me getting paint all over my hands, we are done. We are done with Resume. All right, brilliant. So that is our fourth party member. I don't have Esvis with me, so I can't really include him in our little thing here, but this right here is basically our heroes, plus Esvis, who's, well, he is a very sneaky ranger, so, you know, he could be anywhere. All right, well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed these videos of me going through and painting this. Hopefully Squid's editing makes it a bit more watchable. But thank you very much, and hope you'll join us for the game. Good night.